As always, it can be really nice to sit up on something, especially if you're feeling a little tight in the hips, tight in the spine, if you tend to round a lot. Giving yourself a little height, some blocks or a blanket or two is great. Let's take our right shin in front of our left shin and then try to cross in the center. You might not be exactly there, especially if you're a little tighter. And then let's just kind of like rock side to side a little bit. So lift those sit bones up. And then place them down, and let's use our hands to manually roll the inner thigh flesh. Turns out it's really hard to say thigh flesh outward. So then you're really on the center of those sit bones. And then let's roll the shoulders back a few times. So, just think of this as Atlas shrugging. You're letting the weight of the world, whatever that might look like for you on this Wednesday, let it go. Try to let the shoulders, the neck release as much as possible. And then let's start to roll forward. Which always feels amazingly awkward to me and kind of looks goofy too. So enjoy that. Roll back again. Good. And then you allow your shoulder blades to release down your back so they're melting towards your sit bones. Your shoulders are stacking over your hips, nice and tall, lots of length through the sides of your waist. Put your hands on your thighs. Allow your eyes to close. Deep inhale through your nose. Sigh the breath out as you exhale. You're just breathing out any residual tension here. Do that a couple more times. Good, and then you're gonna inhale through your nose to the count of 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's add. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Continue 4 complete rounds on your own. If you want to decrease the breath, if you want to make it a little longer, you're welcome to do that. And then you can just continue with your Ujjayi breath here. Maybe you dip into that a little deeper. So really listening to that sound that you create in the sides of your throat as you inhale and as you exhale. So as much as possible, trying to make this breath the most important thing. Certainly we get distracted by sounds happening in the room, around us, or outside of us. We definitely get distracted by the chatter happening in our brain. Some days it's really hard to turn that off. Just do your best. It doesn't have to look perfect. As we begin to pay attention to our breath, as we begin to pay attention to the sensations happening in our body as we come into different poses, we kind of get to bring our attention to those things so we can start to quiet a little bit, hopefully. And from here, gently blink your eyes open. We're just going to start to do some Sufi rolls. Not to be confused with the delicious sushi rolls. This is a Sufi roll. I don't know why it's called that, but they feel kind of nice. Kind of get into the hips, get into the shoulders, the neck. This is definitely a movement that we don't do very often in yoga, so kind of soak it up. You can be big with your circles. You can be small. You can channel your inner belly dancer. We all have one. And then let's just start to switch directions here. Just feeling really fluid, really easy. Let's start to come back up to center. So extend legs to straight. We're going to recross with our left shin in front. And then again, just rock side to side on your sit bones. So just kind of notice that play. There's these different places. Good. And then center or root down into your sit bones. Again, you can roll your inner thighs towards your outer thighs. So you're really pressing into the center there. And then we're going to do a little just vinyasa side to side stretching. So press down into your right palm. Inhale, left arm reaches up and over. Exhale, left palm presses. Inhale, right arm reaches. Continuing like this. So exhale is the release. Inhale, you lengthen, you lean. Starting out, this can be pretty small. And then you can start to add on. Welcome to yoga, Susie. Good to see you. Let's do a couple more to each side, just flowing like this. And then we're going to come into a nice little hold. So press into your right palm. Press into your left sit bone and then extend that left arm. As you anchor into that left sit bone a little more, you might find that you back out a little bit. For those of us that are a little more flexible and can release down to the forearm or forearm on a block, you're welcome to move there. One is not better than the other. Find a little twist here too. So you're wrapping your right ribs up towards the ceiling. You're feeling your shoulder blades release down. Couple more breaths. Let's inhale up, left palm presses, right sit bone presses. These 2 points are anchoring you a lot. Right arm up and over. It's like you're gonna spin that pinky side of your hand to face behind you, the palm to face behind you, and come out as far as feels good on that left side, but do remember to keep anchoring down into that right sit bone. As you're doing all of these things, maybe you start to feel your left ribs spin up towards the ceiling. What's going on with your breath? Have you lost it at all? Return to that sound of the inhale through your nose, the exhale through your nose. And we inhale, come on up. Make your way to tabletop position. All right. Moving into some cat-cow. So shoulders over your wrists, fingers spreading, pressing evenly, knees under your hips. As you inhale, find that arch in your lumbar. Starting out, it might not be very big at all. As you exhale, press the mat vigorously away, round in, let the neck lengthen. Maybe close your eyes here as you can continue to move. So just finding this idea of vinyasa, connecting movement with breath, paying attention to the sensations happening in your body, especially your spine here. We're just starting to warm it up. Maybe just notice how you're starting to feel differently. Might be subtle. There's something magical about moving and breathing, especially the days when it feels hardest to do. It does really help shift how we're feeling. And for all of us, we've been practicing a really long time, consistently. So it's like we start to set up this reward channel. We get on our mats and already the dopamine is flowing. We're feeling a little better, getting those feel-good chemicals happening. All right, so let's inhale, come back to a neutral spine. You're neither arching nor rounding. And we're gonna do a little bird dog here, a little stabilization and balancing. As you inhale, right leg, left arm, exhale, release. See how long you can get here. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Exhale, release down. You're gonna continue like this. It helps to keep your gaze slightly forward and in front of you. So you're just looking at the floor like maybe a foot in front of you. So you're keeping your neck nice and long. This looks really good. I'm gonna notice that you have to pull your belly in a little bit to balance. You have to squeeze those outer hips in. Good. We're going to come into a hold here. So the next time you are on that right leg, left arm, extend, reach, squeeze the outer hips in, keep breathing. You might be wobbling a little bit. You might be feeling the things, feeling the feels. That's okay. Stay here like this. Maybe bend that right knee like you're going to kick your own booty. Reach back, potentially see if you can find the foot with that left arm. May or may not be happening, but you can try. You might fall out of the pose, no big deal. If you've got the foot, kick that foot into your hand. Start to spin your chest to the left. Keep pressing both shoulder heads back. Good work, everybody. And then lengthen back out. Good, release down. Second side, inhale, left leg, right arm. So really, really long here. You might just stay here like this. Maybe you bend your left knee. See if you can swing that right arm back, find the foot. And this can be really hard, so if it's not happening, it's no big deal. You're still a good person, is what I'm trying to say. So remember that. There's no magic that happens because you can do a certain yoga pose. I don't care what any of the Instagram yogis tell you. It doesn't work that way. All right. Let's lengthen back out. Release down. Good work. Let's walk our hands forward an inch or two. We're going to curl our toes under. We're going to come back to our downward facing dog. And you just kind of take a moment or two here, fidget around, pedal feet back and forth. Maybe you just need to come to a place of stillness. Maybe you're like, F you, downward facing dog today, and you just come into child's pose. That's all right too. So this first downward dog of the day can always feel a little rickety, but in short order, it's going to feel better. We're going to find more space. It's going to get a little easier at the very least. From here, let's start to walk our hands back to meet our feet. Probably going to have a nice little bend in your knees here for this first forward fold. And we're really going to let the back of the neck lengthen down. You can just keep your fingertips on the floor. Maybe you grab opposite elbows if that feels good, but let the neck go. Good work. That can feel really, really intense. So that bend in the knees is really helpful. And then let's keep this bend in our knees. Let's inhale. Slowly start to roll on up to standing. So coming to your Tadasana, your mountain pose, and your feet are about hips distance apart, second and third toe pointing forward. Shoulders land over hip bones are landing over your heels. So just standing nice and tall. It's like you're finding your inner ballerina here. We're finding our belly dancers, our ballerinas today, all kinds of things. All right, and let's start to just flow nice and gentle. So as you inhale, arms reach up. Good, right fingertips to left wrist. Exhale, side bend right. Inhale up to center. Left fingertips right wrist. Exhale, side bend left. Feels a little different in the standing version of that. Inhale up to center. Exhale. Fold in nice and graceful, maybe with a deep bend in your knees. As you inhale, hands on shins or thighs, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward, making an L shape. As you exhale, you fold back in, letting the back of your neck release down. Root into your feet, take up space as you reach up. Let's do the side bend again. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale up. And then as you exhale, palms come together at your heart. Couple more, just like that. Inhaling, reaching. Exhale, side bend right. Inhale up to center. Exhale, nice and gentle, side bend left. Those left ribs spin up. Inhale, everything comes to the midline. Exhale. Gracefully, fluidly fold on in, however deep that may be. As you inhale, gaze comes forward, chest extends forward. Exhale, fold in, pressing down to rise up. Good, side bend to the right on the exhale. Inhale to center. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So one more little modified half sun salute like that with the side bend at the beginning and the end, just moving with your breath. I'm not going to cue you here. You can't do these wrong. You can skip things, you can add things. Mostly just trying to find this sense of ease and grace and space in your body. Good, beautiful, beautiful work. You're just pausing. When you're done with that round, you could have your eyes closed, or maybe you're just gazing, the tips of your fingers, paying attention to the play that happens as you stand here. So even though it's fairly static, there is this like slight movement happening in your feet. Beautiful work. Let's blink our eyes open. Let's walk to the top of our mat. All right, and let's start to just add on here. As you inhale, stretch your arms out and up. Good. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Neck releases down. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, right leg back, then left. Few breaths in your plank pose. So you're feeling your shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other. You're trying to widen across the front of your chest. Gaze is an inch or two in front of your fingertips. You're using your legs a lot, more than you think you can. The work naturally comes into the arms and into the sides of the waist. Use your legs a little more, and you're probably feeling a little burn. I am. That's good. Stick with it another breath or two. You can always lower to your knees if you need to. Planks are beautiful. They are so strengthening for the entire body. They make us feel like badasses. Some days they make us feel like weak asses too, but we're going with badass today. Lower your knees here. Shift forward. We're going to keep the elbows squeezing in. Shoulder heads lift. Lower halfway. This little mini chaturanga. Nice. And then land on your belly. Tops of the feet press. So basically the same placement with your hands here. They're underneath your shoulder heads. Just moving with the breath. Inhale, chest extends forward and up. As you exhale, you coil down. Inhale, lengthen and stretch forward and up. Outer hip squeeze in, exhale, lower. So those glutes are firing. You're pressing into all 10 toenails. Inhale, lengthen, Bhujangasana. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lengthen. Good, exhale, lower down. Inhale up, Bhujangasana. And let's just stretch our arms by our sides. So reach back, palms face towards each other. Option to lift your feet here. Maybe you keep them pressing down, particularly if there is sensation in your lumbar that doesn't feel good. Give yourself that anchoring action of your feet, landing down into the mat. Good. Place your feet back down. Bend the elbows again. So fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. We're back in our Bhujangasana. Stay here or drag your hands back, wrists underneath your elbows. Next inhale, press to the tops of your feet. Your shins, your knees, your thighs lift up. Your shoulder heads press back. Squeeze those outer glutes in towards each other a little bit. From here, you roll over your toes. Pull back. If you're in your low cobra, press to your tabletop. Then make your way into your downward facing dog. Few breaths here. Second downward dog is feeling a little different. You might be straightening the legs just like a little more. You might be feeling a little more space in your spine, a little more release of your neck. Just notice these things. Notice what's going on for you. From here, we're going to inhale. Stay in dog, but just find a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. You're going to peek forward to where you're going. You can either walk forward, a step right, then left, or maybe you lightly hop both feet through. Inhale, chest lengthens. Nice work, everyone. As you exhale, fold in. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Couple full sun salutes, just moving with the breath here. Inhale, reach, take up space. Beautiful work. As you exhale, gracefully fold in. Inhale, lengthen forward. Keep looking forward, bend your knees, plant your palms, left foot back, then right. Shift forward, baby, come to knees. You lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Inhale into your low cobra or your upward facing dog. Nice work. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Make any tiny little adjustments that you need to in your pose, and then you find that place of stillness. Fingers are spreading. You're pressing evenly into all 10 knuckles. You're feeling the forearms start to firm in towards each other a little bit. Muscle firming to bone. Breath smooth and steady. As we inhale, a little bend in the knees, come to the tippy toes. End of your exhale, walk forward, step left then right. Spring both feet forward. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Press down into your feet, stretch arms out and up. Good. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Let's do one more just like that. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot back, then left. Stretch out this exhale. Take your version of your Chaturanga Vinyasa. It's going to look a little different for all of us. It's going to look different day to day, even within the context of an individual yoga practice. You can mix and match. We all meet back in our downward facing dog. Let's inhale, lift our right leg up. As you exhale, you're going to step that foot through between your hands, lower onto your left knee. Couple of breaths here, getting into this hip flexor. So as always, if you are tighter, you're going to want to have your hands on books or blocks just to bring the floor a little closer. If you're a little more flexible, you're going to slide that left knee back a little further. Definitely feeling this big stretch on the front of this left leg. And then for today, let's go ahead and bring both hands to the inside. Walk that right foot off to the right a little bit and then angle those toes out slightly. So coming into a lizard pose, maybe you melt in a little more. With the toes turned out like this, you start to get a little groin stretch, a little inner thigh engagement in that right leg, in addition to the hip flexor stretch that's happening in the left leg. If this isn't doing much for you, if you feel like you still have a little more, you can lower onto your forearms or forearms on blocks. Keep your sternum directing forward, your tailbone reaching back. So there's a little length here, kind of this little modified lizard pose. All right. So let's make our way out of this. So heel toe, right foot back to the center. So your feet are about hips distance apart. Right hand comes up to your right thigh. Inhale, arms reach. Anjalayasana, low crescent pose. A little bit of a balance pose here. Keep squeezing this right hip in. Grab your left wrist. Begin to side bend to the right. Shoulder blades releasing down your back and spinning in towards each other. You might start to bring your gaze up underneath that top arm, that left arm. Beautiful work. Good. Come back to center. Good. And then we're going to plant our left palm down. It might go on a block. Your shoulder is over your wrist. You can keep your back knee down or curl your left toes under, firm that thigh up. We open up into our twist. Keep pressing to the inner edge of that right foot. These look really good. Feel your shoulder blades stacking on top of each other. Gaze can be down, forward, or up, depending upon what's feeling best in your neck. Check in with your breath again. Have you lost that thread of the breath? It happens. It's cool. We just come back to it. We just keep reminding ourselves. Okay, so we're going to unwind here. If your back knee is down, go ahead and curl your toes under. And we have a couple options for transitioning out of this. I just want to try something that's very challenging, but kind of fun. Why not? So you're either going to, from here, step back to plank pose, take a Chaturanga Vinyasa, do that kind of, what we usually do, or you're going to simply step back to downward facing dog. Or if you're feeling kind of playful and you want to try something a little different today, we're going to do some switch hops here. So you can just watch what I'm going to do. So if you want to try this, what we're going to do is hop our left foot forward, right leg back. 3 of those, if you want to. Like I said, you don't have to. Maybe you just step back to your downward facing dog. It's kind of fun. It doesn't have to look perfect. You do the best you can. It's actually incredibly challenging, but you are going to, one way or another, land with your left foot forward. And we're going to come Down onto that right knee. So you lower down there. Nice work, everybody. All right, and then we start to bring our attention to the front of this right hip. How does it feel as compared to the other side? Do you need some blocks for a little support? Do you need to slide your right knee back? Is there tension in your face and jaw? Can you soften there? It's just trying to find a little ease. Maybe a soft little smile, but I hate to be the person that says smile if you don't feel like doing it. Okay, so we make the transition to more of that lizard pose. So you're gonna walk your left foot off to the left, both hands come to the inside of that foot, turn those toes out a little bit, and then continue to lean in. So as you open up this left hip, you start to find a little more action, a little more stretch in that inner leg. If this isn't enough in your body, you might lower down to your forearms, and just notice how if you're doing this, you do look a little bit like a lizard, I think. Keep lengthening forward through your sternum as you reach back through your tailbone, as you reach back through those right toes. All right, we start to make our way out of this. So heel toe left foot to the left a little bit. You want to make sure that you're not on a tightrope. So legs, hips distance apart. Let's rise on up into our Anjali-asana. So low crescent pose. Really nice. Squeeze this left hip in a lot. Left fingertips to right wrist. Side bend to the left. Ooh, it feels so good in that lower right back area. There might be lots of other places where you're feeling the stretch too. We're all built a little different. We've all got different things going on in our bodies. You might begin to bring your gaze up underneath that top arm. All right, come on back to center, upright yourself. We make our way into our twist. So right hand plants, you have the option to keep your right knee down. You have the option to put your right hand on a block. If you want to curl those right toes under, that leg is basically in plank pose. It's so active and so strong. Use that strength to help you open up, spin to the left. Notice if you roll to the outer edge of that left foot, press more to the inner edge. Feel your shoulder blades stacking on top of each other. Lengthen forward through sternum here and back. So think of this as that little lizard sensation in your torso. Gaze down, forward, or up. And breath smooth and steady. Always coming back to that. All right. So we start to unwind here. One more opportunity to play with that little jump switch if you would like to. If you prefer to take a chaturanga vinyasa or just step back to your downward facing dog, you're welcome to do that. So I find it's helpful to be on your fingertips, to look slightly forward. And then you just think light, happy thoughts. So let's end with our right foot forward if you're doing that. And then you'll press palms down. You'll step back, downward facing dog. Deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And then a quick little child's pose. Big toes together, knees apart. Melt your hips back. Lengthen through the sides of your waist. Maybe rest on your forehead. You can have your arms stretching forward. You can have them in a cactus shape. You can have them reaching by your sides. They all just feel a little different. Play around. Where do you want to be? What is feeling best to you at the moment? Let's turn this into a little bit of a twist. So if your arms are by your side, reach them forward. And then just start to walk your arms off to the right. So you can think downward facing dog arms. You're laying your belly out over that right thigh. And then you're wrapping your left ribs towards that right waist. Come back to center. And then walking off to the left. So finding that twist need not be very deep. Just go to that place where you're getting a little something. Your belly is laying over that left leg. Your breath smooth and steady. Good. Walk back to center. And then let's roll up to our tabletop position. Curl toes under. Shift your hips back. Downward facing dog. As you inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, peek where you're going. Walk forward, a step right, then left, or hop both feet through. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Press down into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come to heart center. Good, root into that left foot. Come up onto your right toes, keep this left hip squeezing in, open up that right thigh. Not triangle pose, tree pose, Vrikshasana. You might stay here like this, maybe you lift your right foot to the lower leg. Maybe you have enough openness in this hip to use your hand to bring that foot a little higher. Nice work, Neil. Leg, foot, pressing into and out against each other at the same time. So it's this isometric stretch. Again, there's all of these little micro movements happening in that standing foot. So it seems static, but it's anything but. This is such a great pose to strengthen the feet. We're going to start to extend our arms up. And just because we can, let's play with it. It's going to be weird, it's going to be funky, but we're going to bring our right fingertips to our left wrist. Keep squeezing everything, but side bend. You're not going to be like super side bendy, but you're going to feel it a little bit, especially in the like mid-back thoracic. This is what happens to trees that have wind coming from I don't know, would this be like an easterly or a westerly direction? I've probably said that wrong, but you're with me, I'm sure. Okay, upright yourself. So find that stability, and let's just challenge our balance a little more. So I want you to start to bring your gaze up. Imagine that somebody is holding you up by your right wrist, so helping to stabilize you. But then start to track with your eyes as you extend that left arm off to the left. It might be a timber situation. Yell it loud and just fall out with a lot of pride if that's you. Good, palms come back together at your heart. Holy Moses. Oh, let it go. And then we're going to try the second side. So let's see what that looks like. Rooting into your right foot. Outer hip squeeze in, lower belly pulls in and up. Come up onto your tippy toes. Open up that hip. This is the pose. You just might stay here like this. This counts. Maybe you want to go a little further. You can lift that left foot to the right shin. Maybe you can reach down, snuggle that foot into your thigh. You don't want the foot on the knee since that's a joint. You just take a few breaths here, just feeling how like stable it is when we're not adding anything on. Any challenges? Feel your tailbone release down, your sternum lift. And start to grow your branches up as you inhale. And then we find our little side bend here. So right fingertips, left wrist. Let's see, no, we go this way. We go off to the left. So in the other easterly, westerly direction, whatever we want to call that. Shoulder blades release down. It might not be happening. Who cares? The world will not stop turning if you don't nail your tree pose on a Wednesday. Little known fact. All of the things will keep on happening. All right, here we go. Come back to center. Oh, it's hard when we hold it this long too. Okay, so start to bring your gaze up. Keep breathing here, keep smiling. This is really challenging what I'm asking you to do. Track with your eyes as you extend that right arm off to the side. I don't know if you guys can see my foot, but it is going crazy trying to keep me upright here. Timber, yell it if you need to. Palms to heart, release your foot. Beautiful, beautiful work and focus. Give the legs a little walk out. Okay, let's do a little back bending after all of that. So if you do have a block or some books or a firm cushion or pillow handy, have that close by. We're gonna do a few active back bends and then we'll come into a nice little restorative back bend before we start to wind down here. So coming onto your back, setting up for your bridge pose. So landing with your ankles underneath your knees, arms by your side. Feel this openness across your heart and chest. Feel your shoulder blades really relax and release down into the mat. Engage your lower belly here. So feel your lower belly pull in and up. As you inhale, press into your feet, lift up. So coming into your bridge pose, you're just gonna keep looking straight up at the ceiling. So in this pose, there's a lot of pressure on the neck. We don't want to look side to side. Couple of options. You're gonna grab the outer edges of your mat. Kind of walk your hands towards your heels, snuggle your shoulders underneath you. A couple of us might have the flexibility to interlace fingers underneath us. Same principles apply, kind of rock back and forth so you get more of that stretch across your heart and chest. The tendency in this pose is to really start to roll to the outer edges of the feet, the knees splay out. So keep pressing evenly. Find that feeling that you just had in your tree pose. You remember how much your foot was working. We want a little bit of that. The arch is lifting. You're pressing into the four corners of the feet. Keep directing your tailbone forward as you lengthen through the sides of your waist. Good. From here, release your hands, release the mat. Lower down nice and slow. Just take a couple of breaths here. We're going to come up into one more. For this one, let's actually do our robot arms. So you're going to bend at the elbow, palms are facing in towards each other. And I want you to think really firming down into this upper arm, especially as you start to get more weight there as you lift your hips up. So here we go. Deep inhale. Press into feet, direct tailbone forward, and then you can kind of, again, snuggle those shoulder blades under, firm into this upper arm. Now let's do a little robot dance just to make this halfway mark of the week a little better. So it's gonna look like this. You just kind of shift your arms back and forth. You can do whatever you want, whatever you envision a robot dancing to look like. Feel that. Hopefully it makes you smile a little bit or laugh or just think, oh, Jana's gone off the deep end. Finally it's happened. All right, serious robot. Fingers point up towards the ceiling. Firm into your forearms. See if you can lift just a little bit higher. Ooh, feels so good. As we exhale, we roll down. And we find our proppage for underneath our sacrum. So we're going to come into a more restorative back bend here, which basically it never sucks. It's always a good thing to do. So press into your feet, lift your hips up. Blocks are great because you can play with different heights. I'm going to do the middle height today. What tends to happen is we get the block too high up. So you can see my buns are kind of off the block. So I'm going to move it more to that triangle at the bottom of my tailbone, that sacrum. So I feel very stable here. There is no sensation in your lumbar, your lower back. You can just have your arms by your side. And you're just mellowing out here. So letting the breath slow down a lot, stretch out. Maybe you want to return to that breath that we did at the beginning of the class. So inhaling to the count of 6 or 7 or 8. And then exhaling to that same count. This is such a beautiful pose to pay attention to how the breath kind of moves throughout the rib cage, the entire rib cage. So you can feel this beautiful expansion. It's happening in the front of the body, the sides of the body, the back of the body on your inhale. And then everything contracts in as you exhale. And it's like you're this human bellows. We did a little bit to stretch out the hip flexors today. If you would like to extend your legs to straight here, that's going to do that a little more. It also kind of gets into the lower back. So for some of us, it doesn't feel so good. And if you're on the highest height of your block, you might want to come down a level. Also, I like to keep my legs more active. So I'm actively pointing my toes. I feel my inner thighs spiraling down. That just offers a little bit of support as well. But you can come here. It can feel really nice sometimes on the front of the leg. If your legs are extended, go ahead and rebend the knees. And then one final little variation here as well. So stay in bridge. If you want to come into your supported shoulder stand, you're going to keep your sacrum resting on the block. You're going to bend your knees in and then extend your legs up towards the ceiling. So you're making a little L shape. And you're going to notice right away why they call this shoulder stand even with a prop. So the weight kind of transfers there. So you can slide those shoulders underneath a little bit. You're just gazing up at your toes. Again, not looking side to side. We've got a lot of pressure on our neck, so we want to protect that. If the shoulder stand, supported shoulder stand isn't working for you, you're just in your supported bridge pose. They're both really lovely. This is a great little pose to do. Anytime you need a little pick me up, you're getting the benefits of a back bend, which is kind of energizing, but you're doing it in this more mellow format with the block here. So this is a really, really great pose to do if you're kind of having a late afternoon slump. This is really restorative, really resting. This, subtle energizing starts to happen. Good, let's take one more deep inhale here if you are in your shoulder stand. As you exhale, bend the knees, place the feet down, couple more breaths in your just classic supported bridge pose. From here, press into your feet, lift your hips up, and then lower them down. And then let's just walk our feet as wide as our mat. Bring your arms out in a T shape. Nice and slow. Begin to windshield wiper your legs back and forth. So we're just releasing out the lower back. Good. Come up to center here. Heel toe your feet back to hips distance apart, arms by your side. You're going to take your right ankle, cross it above your left knee. It's just a nice little hip stretch too before we come into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Right hand can press into this right thigh. Some of us that are a little tighter in the hips are feeling a lot of sensation just being here, so this is where you stay. If you have a little more room, you bend that left knee and reach your right hand through that triangle, interlace fingers around left thigh or shin, wedge elbow into that right hip crease. Maybe close your eyes if they're not already. Listen to that sound of your breath. Send the exhale to that outer right hip. Good deep inhale. As you exhale, you release. Uncross right ankle. Second side, left ankle above right knee. Or left hand presses into that left thigh. Right away, keying into how this is feeling in your body, what's going on, how is this side different? Asking yourself, is this enough? And if it is, by all means, stay here. You're doing all of the work you need to do. If you feel like you have a little more space, perhaps you start to bend your right knee in, left hand through that triangle you've made, interlacing fingers around your thigh or your shin, wedging that elbow, left elbow into that left hip crease. Breath smooth, steady. Your attention is on your breath. Good, go ahead and release. Give your knees a squeeze. Maybe you want a little happy baby here. Anything you need to feel like comfortable before you make your way into your final resting pose, Shavasana. That might look classic with legs extended, arms by your side. You might find that you need a little support under your knees. Maybe you keep your knees bent, feet wide, and just allow the knees to knock in towards each other. But when you get here, completely surrender. Feel really supported. Allow your breath to find its own natural rhythm. Melt into your final resting pose. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Wiggle fingers, wiggle toes, stretch out. Just find some movement, anything that feels good. You're going to roll to one side or the other, find the fetal position. You're going to use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. We started class here. How does the seat feel different? What has shifted? It's always shifting. Our yoga practice life, we get the yeses, the nos, we have the ups, the downs. Spring comes, it goes. It's all very cliched, but it's also very true. We handle it all, we weather it all. We just keep showing up and doing our best. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard at your yoga practice, for making the effort. And just promise yourself that you're going to carry this good feeling you've created with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart and just bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today, everybody. Thank you. Namaste. Halfway there with a 3-day weekend ahead. We got this.